I'm waiting for a couple of you to get in, and man, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I don't know if I'm gonna see if I can pick this up so you guys can see where I'm at. It's like this nice pond right here that I always come to, and just this is my hangout spot. What's up, Shoei? Man, again, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, my bad. You know, my apologies. I mean, no disrespect by that at all. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get started, family. I'm gonna just adjust the camera real quick, and man, we're gonna go ahead and get going. I'm on all these dead branches out here and dead leaves. What's up, Lila? Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, family. Hey, so I was talking to this beautiful young lady yesterday, my queen, and we was watching a movie, and the movie was Flowers of War. The Flowers of War. If you haven't seen that movie, it has Christian Bale in it. Man, it's an awesome movie. Again, it's an awesome movie, The Flowers of War. And it reminded me of years ago. I was like 93, 94. I was in Guam, and I had a dream that I was in China back during World War One. World War Two, and I was running around and I was trying to get these people, and there were bombs being dropped, right? And you couldn't really see anything. It was just foggy. It was just dirty, cloudy and everywhere, right? And I'm just grabbing these people and I'm taking them to this church, right? And I'm just bringing them into this church, right? And this tall, thin Chinese guy was there, and he was like taking all of us in. But I knew that I had to get everybody off the roads, off the streets, and take them to this church, right? What's up, Supernova? And I was taking everybody to this church, right? And we don't know what's that. We could just hear the bombs just, going all around us. But as long as we was in this church, everything was okay. The building was shaking, smoke was coming in, the dust was coming in, but we were okay. As long as we were in this church, right? And again, I had this dream back in 93, you know what I mean? And I never really understood the purpose of that dream. I never really understood the magnitude of that dream. I do know that, man, as far back as I can remember, I've always dreamed of war. I could never draw. I've always drew stick figures. But the only thing that I did know how to draw was, man, I could draw some tanks. I could draw airplanes and helicopters and different war scenes, you know what I mean? And different people, gunmen, infantrymen, in different poses and positions on the ground and in the trees and in the mountains and behind rocks and bridges and all these other places. I was always drawing war. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. I was always drawing war. And I never understood that as a kid. And it's a trip because I love psychology. And I know that if anybody had saw those pictures, they would have been like, man, this dude's twisted. What's going on with this kid? There's something going on with this kid that he's always drawing battle scenes. What's going on with this kid that he's always drawing blood and just guts being poured all out over the place and bullets coming and hitting people in the head and just tanks rolling over people? What is it with this kid that he's drawing all this stuff? He's drawing these helicopters shooting and blowing up tanks, and he's drawing tanks blowing up helicopters and jets fighting in the air. And this is the stuff that I drew all the time. I had the little green plastic army men that never moved. They were just stuck positions, you know what I mean? And I would play with those things for like the longest time. Those were my favorite toys growing up. And again, I always drew war scenes, and I didn't understand at the time. I was always drawing those battle scenes. I was always drawing war because my mind was at war. Stay with me, we're going somewhere today. My mind was always at war. My mind was constantly in a battle, and I didn't understand it. That's what I knew. I know war. I know tactical maneuvers. I know combat. Even to this day, I know that stuff like it's second nature. In this movie, Flowers of War. And all that dream came back to me, and all my childhood and all those memories came back to me as I was watching this movie, and it kind of touched me yesterday, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and my queen's watching it, her mom's watching it, and I'm sitting there and I'm just watching this movie, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck because how real it seemed. And in this movie, man, it was on Prime, man. Check that movie out. Flowers of War. Flowers of War. And it's a trip because as I was watching this movie, man, the basis of this movie is the beginning of World War II. Man, prior to World War II, China has been invaded by Japan. And Japan is just storming through China, just raping and just pillaging and just doing all kind of chaos and devastating things. And as I was sitting there thinking about that, I was like, man, most of humanity, I'm gonna put it this way, most of Americans have no concept of war. Most of Americans are completely oblivious to what goes on in war. Again, I'm prior military. Most Americans have no concept of the devastating destruction, of the chaos, the turmoil, the pain, the destruction of war. We have no understanding of that. None whatsoever for the most part. And so as I'm sitting there watching this and I'm thinking about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and all that other stuff, and I'm thinking and I'm watching this movie and my mind is brought back to China in this dream. And I'm like, oh my God, man, I see this reliving. I see this replaying out. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. I see these chaotic events being played out again. What I saw in my dream back in '93 in China with the Japanese bombing and the Japanese dropping bombs in China, I'm seeing this played out in this movie. I never heard of this movie before. Never heard of this movie before. The Flowers of War. And so this young lady's talking to me about, like, man, you gotta watch this movie. You gotta watch this movie. We're gonna watch it together. Okay, cool, let's watch it. And so as I'm sitting there watching this movie, I'm stuck. I'm so captivated and I'm shook. I'm shook because what I saw in '93 is what I'm seeing on this movie. And so the movie starts out, again, Japan has invaded China. It's running through China and it's bombing China. It's raping all these women. It's killing all these men. And there's so many different epic scenes in this movie. And the whole movie is about heroes. Nobody realized that they're a hero. They're just doing what's best. See, there's a group of Chinese army that should have left. They could have fled before the Japanese got to this area, but they stayed. And they stayed. And as they stayed, there was women, prostitutes, little girls running, fleeing, trying to get away from the Japanese soldiers because they knew what the Japanese soldiers were going to do to them. And so they're running and it's just chaotic. You got little girls fleeing, screaming and crying, scared. And see, most Americans, again, we have no understanding of this pain. We have no understanding of this turmoil. We have no understanding of this hellish situation. We've been spoiled, we've been spared this craziness. And so we become very spoiled and self-righteous. And so these girls are running, they're fleeing. These men are fleeing. And this group of soldiers are left behind. And they have a chance to flee and save their lives. But they stay behind, making sure that these little girls get to safety. And these little girls get to this church. And there's this man, American man, who's a mortician, who's brought there just for the sole purpose of doing what morticians do. You know what I mean? For this priest, this Catholic priest who had just died. And so he's there for that sole purpose of taking care of this priest's body so that it could be buried, right? And then all this craziness breaks out. He gets to the temple. And you got this little boy who's spared, this little boy who's abandoned, this little boy who's an orphan, as a little 6-year-old kid who's taken in by this priest, who's taught English. And so this priest is this little boy's daddy figure. And so the little boy's the only one left in the temple, and he opens up the door for these little girls coming in. He opens up the door for this guy coming in, this American guy coming in, Christian Bale. And all he wants is money. All he wants is something to drink. He has his own issues. He has his own demons. And as he's there, then comes in some prostitutes. They don't want, the little boy don't want to let him in. But they climb over the wall and they get into the little sanctuary. And so now you got this young boy, Christian Bale, these 13 little girls, these little girls. And now you got these hookers or prostitutes, all in the temple, all in the church. And each of them have their own story. Each of them have their own story. Stay with me, family. Just laying the foundation, what we about to talk about today. From pain to purpose. Let me say it again. From pain to purpose. See, the mortician, Christian Bale, he didn't understand why he was brought there. He thought he came there just for a job. But again, you guys hear me talking, you guys heard me say this times and time in the past. Man, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than us. Our purpose is bigger than us. It don't matter what you've gone through, your purpose is bigger than that. And so we're sitting in Christian Bale's right in, and he finds out that they have alcohol or wine, and man, he's just drinking and he's looking for money, anything valuable. He see these hookers, and all he wants to do is just get some. Typical guy. Hurt people, hurt people. Healed people, heal people. And so as the movie goes on, man, this Japanese guy comes in, and this Japanese general comes in, and he sees that they're there. And man, he wants these little girls to come sing for his army, for a celebration. And everybody that knows what's gonna happen, he comes and he hears these little girls sing. And he wants them to come perform for them. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's gonna happen to these little girls that are 10, 12, 13 years old. These army soldiers, these Japanese soldiers are gonna rape them and dog them out. And everybody knows this. And so, little girls get to the point of, man, they're ready to commit suicide. They're ready to jump off of a building because now they understand what's going to happen to them. They don't want to be hurt anymore. Stay with me. We're talking about from pain to purpose. They don't want to go through this. They don't want to go through the hellish situation that they know is about to happen to them. And so, the hookers, they see the girls up on top of the temple, top of the church, and they're ready to jump to their death. And they come running up with Christian Bale, who's taken on his whole persona, his whole demeanor has changed. He's no longer just trying to get laid. He's no longer just trying to look out for himself. He's all about, man, I gotta preserve these kids. I gotta protect these people. All of them. His role is to be a protector now. And so they come running up and they see these little girls ready to jump. And they're pleading with these girls, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And then the hookers finally convince the girls, you don't have to go. We'll take your place. We'll take your place. We'll go for you. We'll go perform for you. We'll go sing for you. Whatever it is that you had to go through, we'll go through the pain, through the hell for you. We care that much about you. We'll take your place. Stay here. Stay hiding. And as we're gone, then you guys get the safety. But we'll take your place. Whatever they were gonna do to you, we'll take your place. I got you. I don't know you, but I got you. You don't know me, but I got you. Why? Because those hookers know what it was like to go through the hell. Those hookers, and one of the young ladies started talking, and she was saying that, man, by the time that she was 13, before she was 13 years old, she had been raped. Before the time she was 13, the age of these little girls, she already had a clientele of men that she was servicing. We're talking about from pain to purpose. And so this young lady and all these other hookers, they knew what was about to happen to these little girls. And so they found the courage within themselves. They found the love for humanity for these little girls to take their place. And so the little boy, there's only 12 hookers. And when the general counted the little girls, he counted 13. There was only 12, but one of the hookers that came out. And so he counted her as one of the little girls. And so they were expecting 13 girls to show up, to service them. There's only 12 hookers. And so the little boy says, man, I'll go. And they were like, no, you can't go. You can't pass as a girl. And we'll do. And the little boy is in tears and he's crying out, no. The priest told me that I had to protect the people. The priest told me what I was supposed to do. Let me do this. I know what's gonna happen. Let me do this. And he's talking to the mortician and he's telling them, you're good at cutting hair. You're good at making people look good. Make me look like a girl. I'll keep my head down. I won't look at them face to face. I know what they're gonna do to me once they find out that I'm not a girl, but I'll do this so that you guys can escape. From pain to purpose. And so the mortician, he's talking to the lady that he was trying to get with the head, prostitute. And he's falling in love with her throughout the movie. He's in love with her. And so she's sitting there and she's getting ready for him to cut her hair. And he's telling her how much he loves her. He's telling her how he's falling in love with her. And the tears run down her eyes because she's never had somebody in love with her. She's never experienced love. She's experienced a bunch of guys. She's slept with a bunch of guys. She's serviced a bunch of guys. But she's never been in love. And so the scene goes where they make love and tears are running down her eyes. Why? Because for the first time in her life, she's making love. For the first time in her life, she knows that this is the last time she's gonna be able to make love. This is the first time she's experienced love, and she knows it's the last time that she's gonna experience love. She knows that this is the last time she's gonna see him. And yet, she's willing to make that sacrifice. From pain to purpose. And so she's asking him, how did you get good at this? She's asking him, when did you become a mortician? When did you do all of this? And he tells her, man, 5 years ago. The movie is titled Flowers of War. Flowers of War with Christian Bale. It came out like in 2011. And so, man, he's telling her, man, my daughter. I just saw something running across the pond over there. My daughter was about to die. she was these little girls' age. She was about 5 years old, and she asked me to make her look beautiful. She wanted to look beautiful as she was dying after she died. And so he did everything he could to make his daughter beautiful. And so for the first time in the movie, you understand the pain and the hell that he was carrying. See, because when you look at the movie in the beginning, you're just like, man, he's an asshole. He's an arrogant, narcissistic, pompous asshole. He's so sexist. Not understanding the pain he endured, he just saw his baby girl die. He was carrying the pain of his only daughter. And his only daughter would have been that same age as these young girls. So often we look at people and we don't know the hell that they've been through. We look at people and we don't know the pain that they're carrying, and we judge them. We criticize them. We put them down. We belittle them. We dismiss them, not knowing the pain that they're carrying, not knowing the hell they've endured. And so tears are running down his eyes as he's talking about his daughter. Who is the same age as all these young girls. She would have been the same age as all these little girls. And so now the movie takes on the thing where he goes from being such a narcissistic asshole, so hurt, so painful, and just all the crazy shit that he was, selfish and all that other stuff, to man, now he has to be a father. And he puts on the role, the priestly role. And he perpetrates as a priest. But now he takes on the man, I gotta be a father. Not a Catholic father, I gotta be a father to all these little girls. I lost my baby girl, but for whatever reason, I've been given another opportunity to be a father to all these other girls. For whatever reason, I've been given the opportunity to be a protector for all these little girls. I lost my baby, but I can protect these girls. I lost mine, but for whatever reason, all these other girls ain't got a daddy no more. They ain't got a mama no more. I'm all they got. And if I don't help them, nobody's gonna help them. If I don't help them, they're all gonna be raped and brutally murdered. And I can't allow that to happen. I can't allow that to happen, not on my watch. From pain to purpose. From pain to purpose. And so as these hookers get in a truck and they're crying and they don't want to go because they know they're marching to their death. They know they're marching to being brutally raped and murdered. They know it, and yet they go. They go crying, but they go so that the little girls don't have to go. They sacrificed their life for the little girls. The boy sacrificed his life for these little girls. They weren't related to each other. They didn't even know each other prior to this hellish situation taking place. It was this war, it was the Japanese soldiers and their murdering and their raping that brought all these people together. It was hell that brought them all together. It was their chaotic circumstances that brought them together. And so now they're together. Now they understand it's bigger than them. It's bigger than them. And before the hookers leave, man, each one of them pull up a little girl. And all the stuff that they've been saving up. And again, understand the Japanese culture, man, jade is valuable. And so there's one young lady, there's one hooker, man, she has these bright green jade bracelets, and she gives it to this little girl, and she said, I was saving these are my favorite, and woo-doo-doo, and she hands them to this little girl, telling her that they're hers now. This other prostitute, she has all this money that she's been saving up because she wanted to buy her freedom. And she grabs this little girl, and she has all this money in the bag, and she hands it to her and tells her, this is yours. And so each one of these hookers grabs a little girl, and they're talking to them, and they're giving them something, whatever it was that they had, that was the most valuable thing that they had. They're bestowing it on the next generation. They're bestowing it upon some kid that they don't even know. From pain to purpose. From pain to purpose. What does that got to do with us? It don't matter what hell you've gone through. It don't matter what your circumstances was like. Again, I grew up in a hellish situation. I grew up seeing my dad abuse my mom, at 2 seeing him murder her. Being in the household, seeing my uncle choking the crap out of my aunt. Beating the snot out of her as a little kid. Being molested twice by the age of 6 by church people. From pain to purpose. And so I grew up with a victim mentality. I grew up angry at the world. I grew up hating God because if God was so loving, why did he let me go through all of that? I don't care what the church folk were talking about no more. If God was so loving, why did he allow me to see so much pain? Why did he allow me to see so much hatred? Again, all I knew was war. Was war. I was always at war. And the truth be told, the trip is, I was at war for my soul. I was at war for control of my ego. My ego and my soul was always at war. My ego had me hating God. My ego had me doing stupid shit. My ego had me sleeping with all these women trying to prove that I wasn't gay. My ego had me twisted with low self-esteem and self-hatred. My ego had me twisted with anger and rage. My soul was trying to get me to remember who I was. My soul was trying to get me to get reconnected to love, to forgiveness, to gratitude. And so I got these 2 opposing forces. I want to be loving, but I'm angry as hell. I'm mad as hell because of all the hell I've gone through. That's not how I want to be, but that's what I know. Because of my experiences, because of my circumstances. What is it that you know? What is it that you've gone through? Understand it wasn't meant to destroy you. And what I mean by that, man, your ego and your soul is at war. That's the battle for your mind. You're at war. That's why you're restless. You're at war. That's why you're depressed. You're at war. That's why you're suicidal. You're at war. That's why you don't like yourself. You're at war. That's why you're popping pills and slamming dope. You're at war. That's why you're sleeping with everybody you can. You're at war. That's why you drink as much as you can. You're at war. You don't understand your purpose. You don't understand the pain. Understand that the pain was to lead you to your purpose. Say again. The pain, your painful experiences, the hell you've gone through, the trauma you've gone through, the drama you've gone through, all of it was meant to lead you to your purpose. But you have to understand the pain. You can't understand the pain being mad at the pain. You can't understand the pain being mad at the people who've caused you pain. You can't understand the pain having a victim mentality. You can't understand the pain hating yourself. And see, some of us, we mask the fact that we hate ourselves. And what I mean by that, man, we'll get all prettied up, but we're overweight. We'll get all prettied up, we'll get all decked out, and we'll just go give our body to somebody. We'll get all prettied up and dolled up, put on a nice image, and we don't take care of our body like we're supposed to. We don't take care of our temple like we're supposed to, not understanding that this shell, the skin, the bones, it's a temple for your soul. It's a temple. It's the church for your soul. It's a vehicle for your soul. How are you mistreating your temple? When you look at the fact of how you mistreat your temple, you understand the fact that you're mistreating your temple because you're not taking care of your temple like you should be. You understand that there's some self-hatred there. I don't care what you talk about. You could talk all the religion you want to. You could talk all the religious stuff. You could talk all the dogmatic stuff. You could talk all the spiritual stuff. You could talk all the self-help stuff. You could talk all that crap you want to. If you're not taking care of your temple, this being, to the best of your ability, you don't really like yourself. You don't really embrace yourself. You don't really love yourself. And I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. Because you have to understand that, man, when you care about something, you care about your soul. We want our soul's gonna live forever, regardless of what happens to the physical being, okay? And the trip is, we'll take better care of our cars than we'll take care of our temple, our body. We'll make sure our car get an oil change. We'll make sure that our tires are straight. We'll make sure that our tires got the right amount of air in them. We'll make sure that we wash and clean our cars. We'll make sure that we wax our cars. We'll make sure to tune up the air filter, the spark plug. We'll make sure that all that stuff is straight. Change the fluids. We'll do all that stuff for our car to ride us around in. But we won't take care of this. That takes our soul around it. We care more about our damn automobile than we do our temple. We care more about our fucking houses than we do our temple. If you really cared about your house, there's a whole lot of stuff you don't do in there. And I see all these spiritual people, man, I don't allow dramatic people coming into my house, and I don't watch all this crazy stuff. And man, I'm constantly saging my house. I'm constantly opening up the windows and the doors, letting the breeze come in, getting all the negative energy out, blowing the negative energy out. Man, I'm constantly putting on beautiful music and meditation music, and it's just radiating throughout my house. My house is such an ambiance of peace and love and tranquility. It's so zenful. We'll do all that stuff for our house. Our physical house, while we poison this house. While we don't take care of this house. We'll do all this stuff for our cars. We won't let people eat in our cars. We won't let certain people get in our car because we know they got that negative energy, and we don't want none of that energy being left behind in our car. And we won't get certain people riding our vehicles. But we won't take care of this. We won't take care of this temple like that. We won't exercise like we should. And I'm not talking about being dogmatic where you got to exercise every day. I'm not talking about being dogmatic where you at the gym all the time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you should be putting in the effort to take care of your body to the best of your ability. Which means that you can't be eating late at night. You know better than that, and you don't even care. You know you shouldn't eat all that ice cream and cookies and cake and donuts and all that other. You know you shouldn't be eating all that crap all the time. You so damn spiritual, you so smart, you so enlightened, but you ain't taking care of this. You don't understand the basics. Man, from pain to purpose. From pain to purpose. What is it that you've gone through that had you twisted? What is it that you've gone through that had you broken and shook to your core? What is it that had you broken to where you stopped trusting, where you stopped loving, or you stopped being compassionate, where you stopped being giving? From pain to purpose. And so when you get to the point of, man, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. Christian Bale, the guy, the American guy, the mortician, he would have never changed had it not been for them other little girls. It took him seeing all them girls and understanding what was going to happen to them for the light to go off. It took him seeing what would have been his daughter's age group. Girls his daughter's age. For him to wake up. For him to come into the understanding that, man, it ain't about me. It ain't about the money here. It ain't about the wine here. It ain't about sex here. That's what I came for. But man, I've grown. That's what I came for because I had all these unresolved issues. But now looking at these people, now seeing their pain and the hell that they're going through and what's about to happen to them if I don't grow the fuck up. I gotta do it for them. I gotta do it for them. The little boy, I'm like 12, 13 years old. Hadn't even lived his life. But he was willing to sacrifice his life for all those girls. For all those girls, he was willing to give up his life to take their place. Because he knew that if the count was off, if the hookers went and there was only 12 hookers, man, the Japanese soldiers, they knew that it was supposed to be 13. And if 13 didn't show up, they would have came right back to that church and went through everything looking for that other girl. And so the little boy knew that, man, I gotta go. Just to keep the soldiers from coming back, just to give you guys time to try to get away. I gotta go. I gotta give up me so that you can live. I gotta give up me so that you can have a chance. From pain to purpose. Can you face your fears? Can you face your insecurities? Can you face the trauma and the drama that you've gone through? And then flip it and use all of that to help others. See, the hookers, they knew. They've been with so many guys. They've been raped and taken advantage of and mistreated by these soldiers and by other guys. And so they knew what was going to happen because they've experienced it before. So they took their experiences. They took all the pain and they were crying. They didn't want to go, but they had to go. And they knew they had to go. But they took pain. They took their experiences and used it for the good. They use their painful experiences for the greater good, to help somebody else, to give somebody else a better chance at living a more productive, a more positive and beautiful life. How are you using all of your painful experiences? How are you using the hell you've gone through to benefit somebody else? How are you using the suffering and the disappointments and the rejections and the brokenness? How are you using all of that to help others grow, to help others heal, to help others reach their full potential? From pain to purpose. See, when you understand your pain, you understand that, man, it's for a reason. I've gone through all that I've gone through for a reason. And it wasn't just because I was a victim. It wasn't just because people didn't like me. It wasn't just because I was bad. It wasn't just because I was black. It wasn't just because I was a kid. It wasn't just because of any of the stupid stuff. I've gone through all that I've gone through. Why? So that I could come and be a beacon of hope, a beacon of joy, to inspire and to encourage and to challenge others, and to help others reach their full potential. But I couldn't be here had I not gone through all that I went through. The hookers wouldn't have been in a position to bless these girls with the things that they had. These hookers wouldn't have been in a position intellectually, emotionally, to step up and say, man, I know it's gonna happen. Because of my experiences, I'll take their place. I'll take your place. From pain to purpose. And so when you truly understand your pain, when you truly understand why you've gone through all of the stuff that you've gone through, when you truly have healed from all of that drama, all of that chaos, then you can stand up and say, man, I would go through it all over again. I would experience it all over again. All of the pain, all of the brokenness, seeing my mom murdered, being molested, seeing my auntie beat down, being brokenhearted, being all the things that I've done, having all these women walk out of my life. Man, I would go through all of that all over again. Why? Because it gave me tools to help others. It gave me inspiration to help others. Because I've been there, I know the pain. Because I've been there, I know the loneliness. Because I've been there, I know the brokenness. I know the hopelessness. So let me walk you through your dark space. Let me walk you through your dark times. Because I don't want you to have to go through it all by yourself like I did. I don't want you to think that, man, you're not gonna make it through this. I don't want you to get to the point to where you commit suicide because you think that it don't get any better than this. So let me talk to you. Let me open up and become transparent with you. Let me show you my pain and my suffering, not so that you look at me with sympathy, not so that you look at me and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. No, so that you understand that if I can make it through the hell that I've gone through, then you can make it through the hell that you're going through. If I could show you my pain and my brokenness and my loneliness and my frustration and all the other stuff that I had, the hopelessness and all of that, then you can understand that, man, I haven't been through near as much. And yet I'm not doing everything in my power. Yet I'm not being that type of beacon. Yet I'm not encouraging and inspiring and challenging and helping others. Yet I haven't gone through all that. So why am I not being transparent? Why am I not doing all that I could do? And again, it's not about looking at somebody else and judging and comparing our lives. It's not about that at all. It's about seeing us. Seeing us. Can I see you in my life situation? Can you see yourself when you look at me? When you see my story, when you hear my story, can you see you? It's my challenge to you, to each and every one of you. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. But you have to learn how to open up. You have to learn how to become transparent. You have to learn how to face your fears. And the truth be told, the great majority of us are terrified of opening up because we're terrified of being rejected. We're afraid of being rejected. We're afraid and traumatized, and we don't want people to see us for who we are because we don't want them to put us down. And so many of us, we masquerade this perfection life. We masquerade, we get all made up. We get all dolled up. We get all tatted up. We get all yoked up. We go through all these things. Why? Because this is how we want people to see us. We don't want them to see the broken little kid within us. We don't want them to see the hopeless little kid within us. We don't want them to see the little boy and the little girl that was crying out for help, that was suicidal. We want them to see us how we are today. Perfect. That's not going to help them. That's not going to help anybody. And see, parents, let me tell y'all something. Man, your kids need to know your brokenness. Your kids need to know the hell you've gone through. Your kids need to know that you weren't perfect. Your kids need to know that they're not gonna be perfect. They're gonna make mistakes. And that's okay. Just get up. Learn from them. Get up, dust yourself off, keep moving. You don't have to be perfect. And we got our kids so twisted. We want them to, they feel like they gotta be perfect. They feel like they gotta be righteous and saints and, just so good. And we was never that. And we ain't that now. And so we got all these kids growing up with all this additional stress and pressure. We got all these women and guys going into relationships thinking that, man, I got to be perfect for her. I got to be perfect for him because I don't want him to leave me. I got to be perfect for her because I don't want her to see this part of me because she might leave. She might reject me if she sees this. She might reject me if she finds out about this. And so I'm going to keep this all a secret. And once you start keeping secrets, man, you're no longer transparent. Once you start keeping secrets, you can no longer connect on a soul basis. That's the deepest type of connection you can make with somebody. Man. From pain to purpose. All that you've gone through was to lead you to your purpose. All that you've gone through was to lead you to being a beacon of love, of compassion, of joy, of forgiveness, of gratitude, of love. Not just for yourself, but for the rest of humanity. It's not about you going through all the hell that you've gone through just so you can pull yourself up and just talk about, man, look at what I did. Look at where I'm at. Look at what I accomplished. And you're not trying to help others. You're not trying to encourage others. You're not trying to give others the opportunity to do the same. this is what it's about. This is what life is about. This is what your purpose is all about. From pain to purpose. Man, family. I'm getting ready to head over to the gym. It's about an hour, about a mile and a half walk from here. But I'm about to go work out. Family, I just wanted to jump on and just share this with you guys. You know, it's heavy on my heart all night, all morning. I couldn't wait to get out here and, man, just pour all of that out. Having these videos, man, is draining. You know what I mean? Just pouring out, you know, giving of myself in this way. It's draining, but yet at the same time, it feels good knowing that I'm trying to help somebody. I'm doing what I can. You know what I mean? I challenge each and every one of you, man, to reach out to somebody, to try to be a beacon to somebody else, to try to help somebody else. You know what I mean? And so many times we get stuck on just trying to help family members out. You know what I mean? Man, it's not about, yeah, help your family, but family is bigger than them. You know what I mean? Because for the most part, your family ain't gonna listen to shit you gotta say anyways. You know what I mean? They'll listen, but they ain't really trying to follow in your footsteps. You know what I mean? Because you cousin so-and-so, you auntie so-and-so, you little brother, big sister, whatever, they ain't really trying to listen to crap you gotta say. You know what I mean? Because they remember when you was snotty. They remember when you walk around peeing on yourself. They remember when you was shitting on yourself. You know what I mean? They remember all that stuff. And that's how they see you. They don't see you as this spiritual beacon anymore. You know, well, they've never seen you as that. You know what I mean? And so, man, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But don't get fixated on just trying to help your family. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. I love you. Happy healing. Peace.